So now we finally reached the end, the absolute pinnacle of spellcasting ability for any young sorcerer or sorceress. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, wrapping up the spell guide portion of the first edition Pathfinder Sorcerer build. We are going to be covering their 9th level spells, and oh my god, these are some real doozies. But before we go over what exactly we've picked out here for you, if you're new here to the channel, then go on down there, hit that subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or, if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on such a legendary roster of heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now, let's start talking about your 9th level spell selection, and this is where things really cap off and are utterly ridiculous. And to begin with, we have Shape Change. It was actually brought up by another viewer and commenter, Captain Crank. Shape Change, you target yourself, and for 10 minutes per level, this spell can function as Alter Self, Beast Shape 4, Elemental Body 4, Form of the Dragon 3, Giant Form 2, and Plant Shape 3. You can change your form each round before or after your action. This is essentially the ultimate in, well, shape changing. You're able to transform into so many different forms, and you can transform as needed into a wide variety of different forms to fit a essentially infinite number of different situations that you might find yourself in. Because not every form is going to call, or situation is going to call for a dragon form, as hard as it might be to believe, but it does happen. So definitely a great spell that gives you a lot of utility and a broad range of applicability. And another spell that we have on offer here for you that is just broadly applicable and always going to be useful, it's Time Stop. You speed yourself up so fast that the world seems to stop for 1d4 plus 1 rounds. You can't move or damage held items, and fires, gases, any extremes of temperature or sources of damage will still harm you, and any spells that you cast can't harm targets until Time Stop ends. So what you do is you use this to set everything up. You summon in creatures, you buff yourself, you throw buffing spells out for your allies. Once Time Stop ends, everything takes effect all at once. So this is huge. This completely skews and messes with the action economy. Sure, it's only for you, but the spellcaster having more actions does so much for your party, especially given the suite of other spells that you have available and the number of times that you can cast them. And the next spell is a classic. Utterly powerful. It's considered the most powerful spell to cast, and it's also the most expensive, and that's Wish. This costs a 25,000 gold piece diamond for you to cast. You can duplicate any sorcerer or wizard spell of 8th level or lower, or any non-sorcerer spell of 7th level or lower. You can undo recent critical hits, undo gaze or quest spell effects, alter the fabric of reality, though this is dangerous and subject to DM discretion how much you can alter things or warp things around. You are really only going to be limited by your imagination, your wording, and your DM. And bear in mind, with this specific build we've gone for here, you get this as part of your bloodline in your spells known. So that leaves you free up to select other spells from your spells known list. This one is just a freebie that you get. So definitely a great one to have, although I've seen some guides say that this spell is too expensive to be casting all the time. Maybe true, but by the time you have 9th level spells, while 25,000 gold pieces isn't anything to scoff at, you can't take it with you. You burn the cash and keep your party alive, and keep doing damage and warp things around. You'll more than make up the cost later. And then, of course, we still have more spells. The next one is Mage's Disjunction, and this can kind of do a lot. You select a 40-foot radius burst or a single magic item that's within 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 levels. Spells and spell-like effects are unraveled, ending immediately, and each permanent magic item in the area gets to have a will saving throw or will end up functioning like a normal item for 1 minute per caster level. Now, if an item is held or worn, they can either use their own saving throw or their wielder's saving throw, whichever's higher. If an item's saving throw is a natural 1, the item is destroyed. Now, selecting a specific magic item gives that item a -5 penalty to its will saves, and artifacts are not immune to this, though they do get a percentage chance to as to whether or not Mage's Disjunction works on them. It's 1% per caster level, so in theory, a level 20 sorcerer has a 20% chance of unraveling an artifact, though the destruction of such an artifact is specifically mentioned as be able to attract the attention of some powerful being who is tied to the artifact. And a lot of artifacts are tied to deities, demigods, demon princes, archdukes of hell, things like that. So definitely something worth considering. And also you also have a chance of losing any spell casting abilities you have permanently. It's a percentage based chance, but that is also a risk you run. This could end your adventuring career destroying an artifact. Then next we have a really, really dangerous spell, and that's Gate. You conjure a gate to a specific plane that's within 100 feet plus 10 feet per level. The gate will appear. You can either hold the gate open for you and others to travel through, or use it to call up to twice your hit dice in a kind of creature that's specific to that plane, or a specific creature or individual. Deities and unique entities can be called, but they can't be controlled, and specific beings that you might call can only have up to your hit dice for you to control them. If a specific being that you call has more hit dice than you, then like unique entities and deities, you can't control them either. Deities and unique entities, specifically unique kinds of forms of spirits and the like, or Cthulhu, if you were to try to call one of those great elder beings, elder gods slumbering from beyond the realms of time and space, they do not have to answer the summons, but they may choose to anyways, and when they come through, you can't control them, so best of luck to you depending on what it is you've called. Even a benevolent deity that decides to step through might be a bit annoyed or perturbed that a mortal just had the sheer goddamn temerity to call upon them, and I guess pun wasn't intended, but I'm going to roll with it there. So, Gate is incredibly dangerous. I'd say in a lot of ways much more dangerous than Wish is, because Wish, at least from my own DM perspective, with a Wish spell, I try to consider the source of the wish. A player character casting a wish spell, I tend to err more in their favor, although not necessarily giving them everything they want. I tend to use less leeway in screwing over players when casting such a wish spell. But a gate is calling up thinking beings with wills of their own. That's massively dangerous, especially since deities can interfere with spells like Wish, potentially. So definitely a very dicey one. But of course there are still plenty of other spells. There's things like Mass Suffocate and Prismatic Sphere, which are still good spells. But go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Do you like this list? Do you dislike it? Is there anything you would change? Let me know down below and hit those like or dislike buttons. And remember that if you're new here to the channel, go on down, hit that subscribe button, and become a regular member. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.